There's been a lot of hype over Brendan Fraser's performance in Darren Aronofsky's The Whale. Now, I saw the movie a few days ago, and I've sat with it a bit to just let it sink in. So is this one worth checking out? A reclusive English teacher attempts to reconnect with his estranged teenage daughter. Now, this movie's based on a play by Samuel D. Hunter, and while I didn't know that going in, the presentation of the film looks and feels very much like a stage play, which I was digging. Fraser plays Charlie, an online English professor who's morbidly obese and lives alone in a small apartment. It appears he really only has one friend, played by Hong Chau, and we watch his life play out over the course of about a week as he tries to rebuild a relationship with his teenage daughter, played by Sadie Sink. So first off, the hype around Brendan Fraser's performance is certainly deserved. He crushes the performance, creating a character that's sympathetic, hopeful, and depressed. There are moments in this where his delivery and emotional investment reminded me of his performance in With Honors, where we get to witness an internal devastation for the character, where longing, desire, heartbreak, and hope, they all collide in an awesome and terrible display of emotion. Fraser is so captivating, and the sentiments that are captured in his eyes can be both devastating and inviting. He emotes so well in this. And then also, he gives a very powerful and convincing physical performance. Now, Fraser is already a tall guy at about 6'3", but the way the camera captures him makes him appear even taller, towering over characters and furniture in his tiny apartment. And then the prosthetics that are applied to him for him to just become the morbidly obese man, they're frighteningly realistic. Fraser fully commits to the role, and every movement feels utterly believable as we watch this hulk of a man slowly maneuver around with a ton of difficulty. Sadie Sink is also wonderful in this, playing Charlie's daughter, Ellie. Now, she's hard to like at the beginning, although it's easy to understand where her emotions are coming from. The story reveals a ton of their backstory and baggage through some excellent sequences of dialogue. And Sink is very believable as a hurt teen who feels discarded and abandoned. And I love the dynamic that this then sets up between father and daughter, allowing for some excruciating exchanges that are also laced with optimism and hope. There are also two performances from Ty Simpkins and Samantha Morton, and I really enjoyed what they each brought to the story. Their inclusion draws more out of Charlie and gives us more and more insight into what makes him tick. There is a moment between Charlie and Morton's Mary that is explosive and it's crushing. Fraser devastates with his eyes, and the way his voice breaks as he delivers some lines, it's overwhelming. And for me though, as phenomenal as Fraser is, and as much as I enjoyed Sink's performance, Hong Chau, she steals every scene that she's in. She plays Charlie's friend Liz, and while there is a pragmatism to the character, that's also masking some of the fear and emotion that she feels. Liz is a convincing mix of frustration, sadness, anger, and then love. Her dynamic with Charlie is absolutely touching, especially as she has these conversations that we know she's had countless times before, and yet nothing changes. I know this story is going to have very mixed reactions because of how tragic it is. While I was watching, I got some of the same feelings I got while watching Leaving Las Vegas. Except with this one, the massive difference is that there's still a huge storyline of hope that's prevalent throughout the entire thing. Even when things are dour and depressing, there's still a thread of positivity that's woven throughout. And this is a very sad story. It's not something that you walk out of and have a smile on your face, even though what just took place on screen was outstanding. Something I really appreciate about this also is the parallel that's created between Charlie's story and that of Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Now sure, Charlie can be looked at as Moby Dick, simply out of his size, and the fact that the whale destroyed all around it. But I think it's more layered than that, where Charlie can be a combination of Queequeg and Ahab. Now there's an obsession present that both Charlie and Ahab share, and while they may not be exact, there is something that occupies their minds and controls their motivations. And I think Liz can be viewed as Starbuck, the one to speak wisdom and who sees clearly as to what's going on and the dangers that are present. And then Ellie, I think she can be viewed as Ishmael, because not only is there a bond between Ishmael and Queequeg, but the final outcome has a redemptive and savior-like arc, which is deeply powerful and emotionally impacting. And because of the heavy nature of this movie, it's not one that I think I'll ever want to watch again. That's not because of the performances or even the execution. This is such a beautiful and captivating story to see. The single setting of Charlie's apartment, it creates a very intimate environment that allows us to really connect with the characters and not be distracted by anything else. The pace is patient, but it's deliberate and driving. It's an hour and 57 minutes long, but there isn't any portion in this where I felt like it was dragging or boring. I mean, yeah, there are slower moments, but these are created intentionally to let us witness the monotony in Charlie's life and then to get a huge insight into his mindset. I think if you're a fan of stage plays where a limited cast interacts in a singular location and all of the drama is built by the dialogue, The Whale is something to check out. Brendan Fraser is triumphant in his lead role, crafting a persona that embodies optimism, beauty, and hope despite his physical appearance. Hong Chau is also a massive standout with her performance that delivers emotional rawness as well as hopeful love. And while the presentation is wrapped in a devastating and depressing narrative, at the center is a story of the enduring love of an expectant, encouraging, and inspirational father searching for meaning and redemption to pass along. There's brief sex, maybe some nudity, but it was kind of difficult to discern, a ton of profanity, and not really any violence. I give The Whale 4.5 out of 5 couches. So what's an incredible film that you've seen, but one that you don't want to watch again? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.